up to be countrywide. The impact is mostly on individual families. But I don't think we should underestimate that impact. It's profound. It means the difference between living in poverty and not living in poverty. And there are measures that can be taken to enhance that scale and enhance that impact, including, as Dr. Superchai said, and I think this is very important, that two-sided, to look at what measures LDCs themselves can take to encourage creating an environment in which remittances and other assets can be productively used, and then show as a good example for further investment. And we have run some programs, for example, with exchanges between diasporas, with the investment of development partners in enhancing that to create a broader impact. And it's those kinds of innovative partnerships that bring in different actors than were involved in the table 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that can help make a difference, even in small ways, but it matters in individual people's lives. Thank you very much.
Should I go now, then Superchai can have the final word?
Okay.
Mr. Chairman. Quickly, I hope the conference, thank you, I hope that this conference will lead to some revisiting of the paradigm. Speaking from the developed country point of view, the MDGs are so much the dominant agenda. I'm an MDG supporter, so I don't mind that. I think it's been an important progress in some global action. But what has fallen largely from the map is, what about countries? And that, to my mind, is the significance of the 48 least developed countries. It's bringing back some of the agenda. Even if we make some progress, we need much faster progress on the MDGs. We also need these actions to make the global situation fairer for countries, not just people who've been marginalized, but countries. I think that's important. Clearly, LDCs must take themselves most of the action. I hope the conference has encouraged many of them by seeing experiences which other countries have had, as well as obstacles. Personally, I'm a bit disappointed that time and time again it comes back to we need more aid, or we've given more aid, or aid is corruption. Aid is important, but it's minor. So my final point is, when will the major, more developed countries, and I'm now beginning to mean the emerging countries as well as the developed countries, so-called, will they begin to see that instability of commodity prices affects them as well? Look at the British debate recently. The whole Conservative Party is cut, but they give a subsidy of 1p for petrol. But that is because commodity price instability, in this case of oil, matters in global, international politics, as do food prices, as the instability issues are globally felt. And yet the industrial countries somehow say we can send just a parliamentarian to this meeting or the head of aid. We don't send ministers because we don't see it really links as they ought to. What about migration? Major issue on which elections are being fought. Not look at the EU at the moment, all the strains because of the immigrants. And yet, as you've said, madam, we all know the statistics show the positive side of migration. But there needs to be a global, there's another issue, and climate change finally. When do we start seeing these? When do people in the richer countries, emerging or otherwise, begin to realize they need global solutions to these? And then we begin, I hope, to see action on the whole plan of action. Thank you.
I've been informed that Supachi has nothing further to add to this. And I think we have had a very high-level, technical, intellectually high-level panel. And I think that was the reason, although being the last panel, although having the tiredness of the whole symposium, it was so lively. Thank you for attending, and thank you for the questions. And I have to thank the panel very much also. Thank you.
It's advertisement for Patrick's own 2 books, Patrick Guillemont, for those of you who are doing research on these issues. Very serious, most thorough stuff, the best I know by a long chalk. And secondly, a bit of personal, the Eminent Persons Group report, which is very user-friendly in the presentation, is there. I'm sure if you ask, I haven't got lots of copies, but you can. And it does give a broader view on many of these things. Thank you.